Oh, look at these setting up in the backyard, eh?
Yeah, you know what? I was like walking around my place. I'm like, nah, I don't like this background. This background. Wifey's doing something in the office upstairs, so I'm like, okay, I can't use that. So like, you know what? It's gorgeous outside right now. Let me just use the deck right now and make it work.
As you can see my mess of t-shirts in one corner, my mic on the other side. I'm keeping it real.
100%.
You know, it's good you get to enjoy the weather out there. It's a fucking blizzard right now. I woke up this morning, snow was coming down out here in Alberta, so
damn.
yeah. Winter never seems to end and shit. Okay, but so I'm gonna just give a quick intro here and let everybody know. My name's Doobyis. This is After the Smoke is Clear. So that's the name of my mix show. And this is a spin-off segment where I'm talking to artists across the country, trying to just kind of shed more light on the local scenes and the individuals that make them up across the country. You know, I think there are a lot of fans of music, a lot of fans of hip hop across the country who, you know, they might have a few favorite local artists in their city. And maybe they haven't kind of explored the entire scene across the map, but in the couple years of doing this this radio show After the Smoke is Clear, it's really got me to dig in and just pay attention and find out how much music actually comes out across Canada here. So you know, there's just an abundance of it, and what I do this show for is to try to just get as much of that new music into new people's ears as I can. And hopefully try to link up fan bases and stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys for coming to talk with me. I've got David Smith and Ivason Black here with me. I guess maybe I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, and you know, how you got into the scene maybe.
Yeah. Ivason, you want to go? Want me to go? What you think, man?
Go ahead, man.
All right. Cool. So what's up, everybody? David Smith, coming out of Hamilton. Here's where I'm currently located. And I've been in and out of the hip hop scene for a while. I remember I went by the name Titus, way back in like 2005, 2006, doing some underground music, and then the acting world sucked me in, and spent a good, 10, 15 years in the acting scene, doing film, television, commercials, but I was always creating music. You know, could never let that go. Hip hop has just always been a part of me since, you know, just growing up as a kid. And I'll say about 2 years ago, and I'll even come back to Ivason Black. We'll tell the story about how we reconnected, you know, and then reconnected. I think that would be dope to tell at some point as well. But about not even 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, one of my favorite producers, Mr. Murray, who's based out of Waterloo, he had hit me up. It was November. It was my son's birthday, actually. And he was just like, yo, you know, what you been up to? You know, your name came up. I was just talking to Pro Logic. I heard you just there recording a couple months ago. I was like, yeah, man, you know, we just, you know, laced the track together. And he was like, what have you been working on musically? I was like, you know, I've always been recording stuff here at home, you know, just over different beats and whatnot, just for the love of the craft, but haven't been releasing anything. She was like, yo, give me an acapella. Let me, you know, remix something for you, you know, just for something to do. Like, cool. So literally, you know, a year and a half ago, sent him acapella. We came up with the song Take Two. He remixed it. And then we ended up doing another follow-up song to that for a friend's podcast. And then another song. And we did a bunch of songs, about 20 songs, I think we did last year. And it's one of those things where I just kind of jump both feet back. And it's like, yo, I forgot how much I love this aspect of it. And being reintroduced to it, quite honestly, at this point in the game, I didn't have the outlet of Spotify, you know, where I could meet Ivason and you know, say we could literally do a track right now, and we could have that bad boy up on Spotify by like tomorrow.
Beauty like of the internet, right?
Straight up, man. And so where it's advanced, where it's caught up to, and then and being in the acting scene, so, you know, being familiar with, you know, just the social media aspect, always being around that, or just being on screen, that aspect, and being able to combine that, you know, and jump both feet back into music, and then me, Ivason, you know, teaming up and getting a track together, you know, so quick, and myself coming back to it, man, and just it's that excitement that I used to have, you know, way back. And so so that's kind of where I re-enter hip hop now, and just, man, loving it more than ever.
So, sorry, did the pandemic kind of play into that? Like having more time to record? You said you felt really good connecting to this element and recording a bunch of songs. You're talking about like the studio element and recording music more so, or?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, that pandemic is, you know, kind of threw us even more into, it's like, yo, what are you working on? Oh, I got a beat. Email it back and forth, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody I talked to is saying the same thing. I think it was like a type of artistic renaissance almost when pandemic happened, because it locked us all in. And so now we're just all, okay, well, I got a mic. I got, you know, this guy's got beats. That guy's got verses. Let's start combining. Let's get it worked out, you know? So yeah, that's a pretty common thread. Looking forward to hearing all the music you said you recorded, like 20 tracks or whatever in a year. That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it was but again, like I said earlier, it's like going back to when you first started this, and you just write, you know what I mean? You weren't even good, but you just wanted to create. And it's like, and it was just going back to that initial excitement that kind of brought that up.
Right on. So Ivason Black, can you tell us about yourself too?
Yeah, I'm based
around the scene.
Malvern, born and raised, still living in. Been doing music for a while, and like you said, this artistic renaissance that came about, really, you know, threw me back into it. Right, I needed therapy. I was living on my own. You know, you can't go anywhere. You can't. I mean, my mother's a little older, so I couldn't go see her. I couldn't see my kids. It was just, what else can I do except sit at home and make music all the time, right? So I'm, you know, in a weird way, I'm happy that it happened. I mean, I'm not happy for COVID, but I'm happy for the instance that it created, right? And the ability to get back to what I know and love. Definitely. So yeah, it's been fun. Like Dave said, man, just bouncing tracks back and forth. Like the way this song came together was literally, you know, I'm sitting at my computer listening to something I had put a verse on and was like, yo, let me call up D and see what he thinks of this. And then boom, the track was born, right? And it was done, I mean, D, we did that in like
a few days, man. I mean, you hit me up on Thursday. I think I got it back to you like Saturday or Sunday, I think.
We're talking about that track today? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your most recent release together then, right? There was that and then a remix for it too. I saw it came out about a week ago or so.
Yes, the Jimmy Fingers remix.
Yeah. So how'd you guys link with Jimmy Fingers, or who's Jimmy Fingers? Maybe give him a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead.
That's my boy. That's my day one boy. Does all my graphics, does all my artwork, all you know. He's my all-around guy. He's my listening ear. He's my muse. He's my brethren.
Every team needs that, yeah.
Right, and this is actually his first joint ever released, like fully out. So for him, this is a huge moment, and I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, he killed it.
I didn't know that.
So you're talking about getting beats from different sources online. Neither of you guys produce yourselves?
I don't, but Ivason?
I'm all self-produced. I mean, I do take beats. Like, for instance, this joint was done by Know It, or J Young Music. And, but generally, I do my own beats, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this one was by Know It, actually. He's somebody that I've kind of stumbled across just checking out new music for the show too. He's Ontario based too, right? Someplace out in Toronto there? Out by Toronto? Okay.
Cambridge, right?
Right on. But shouts to him. He's always I noticed he's dropped some beat tapes recently where he's raising money for like kidney transplants or something.
Dialysis.
Like that. So right. So shouts to him. It sounds like a good cause, and people should check out his work. I bought a bunch of his beats, and you know, good stuff to have on in the background, even if it doesn't have raps to it. But so when you're looking for producers to work with, you know, there's a couple different schools of thought I find, especially in hip hop when I'm talking to people. Some people really like to just work with, you know, the four guys that they know, maybe they'll meet somebody at a show and get a beat from him or something. And then the other school of thought, I think, is maybe kind of more new school, where people are reaching out, like we were talking about online, and really kind of just doing those cold calls to people saying, hey, I like your work. You know, would you be interested in collabing? You know, can I get a beat pack? Stuff like that. Which lane do you guys tend to find yourselves in? I guess maybe it doesn't apply as much if you make your own beats there, Ivason Black, but I guess just talking about even finding other MCs, like do you tend to work with people who you've met in person first, or you know, have you done any collaborations where it's just come straight through the internet actually, or is it all people you know in person?
It's both. I got a couple of joints coming up on this record here where, you know, it's kind of in our clique. Dave knows a lot of the guys, but I would still call it an internet thing because a lot of them I've never met in real life ever.
Sure.
Or probably, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
And all, you know, growing up, doing our thing, raising families and whatnot. So I would have to say I'm open to it all. I just love music, and if someone is down, I'm down. I mean, I do it for love. The money thing gets on my nerves a little bit. I prefer to just do it on, you know, on a love basis where it's like we're not getting rich here. We're just doing it because we love it.
Hey, respect for that, man. That's something that I always talk about. You know, I'm an MC myself or whatever, and for me, it's just I love making the music myself. So, you know, I can definitely relate to that, and I think that a lot of artists get it in their mind that if they don't manage to blow up, it's some sort of failure, right? Like if we don't all have 1 million follows or 1 million whatever spins on whatever streaming service or YouTube, that it's like we're failing. But the thing that I like to try to remind artists is, like, you know, if you're getting respect from your peers, that's kind of more important than getting the respect for, I mean, it's nice to be paid, obviously. Everybody wants to make money off this thing eventually, but the respect from your peers is so much more important, because those are the people who actually know the culture, right? The different artists across the country who hear music by you and go, oh, this guy writes, you know, this is an MC over here. And I think, you know, a lot of guys kind of get it in their mind that, like, we got to be boots on the ground. And if you're a little bit more, well, and pandemic really, I think, forced a lot of us to adapt to step outside of that comfort zone and maybe reach out and try shaking some hands online and stuff. David, you were saying that you guys had kind of drifted apart and then managed to relink up, and that there was a story there.
Yeah. So we knew each other from again back when we were doing this in the mid 2000s, right? But even at that time, we were more acquaintances than buddy, like, because we had guys in the same circle, right? And I mean, he's cool, I'm cool. So anytime we saw each other, it was just love. It's what it was.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it wasn't like, you know, I was calling him or he was calling me, or we were, you know, say, what are you saying this weekend? Let's go kick it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that type of friendship, right? But it's still love. Fast forward, like 10 years, 15 years even. We were both working at Canada Post together at the time. And I'm in the depot the one morning. I'd been there for a while. And I go over to get my my scanner. And as I get my scanner, I walk back around the corner, and me and him lock eyes. And now it's different context. 15 years later, not expecting to see each other, you know, let alone even like remember each other to say that, you know, I don't expect to see you around, or even know what each other does for work.
Yeah. And
we look at each other, and there's this, you know, it's familiarity, but again, it's out of place, right? It's like out of a movie. I'm like, what's up? It's like, what's up? And then and Ivason has this smile, right? That he hits you with, like his eyes, where they kind of look, they pierce you, right? When hopefully Doobyis, you meet him one day in public, in person rather. So he shoots me this look. He's like, you don't remember me? I'm like, yo, and his name slipped me at the time. I'm like, what are you doing here, man? I'm like, what? He's like, what are you doing here, man? So I've been working here. It's like, yeah, me too. He said, what's the name again? It's like Title Skits. Like, yeah, of course. Yo, what's good? And that same excitement that I'm relating this story to you, right, is like literally what we felt at the time. And Doobyis, I kid you not, at that point, I'd probably been back recording music, I say probably about 6 months at the time. And this is, again, going back probably, what do you say, Ivason, like 5 years ago, 7 years?
Okay.
About that, right? And so I had this group, that live band that I used to jam with. Actually, Ivason, I brought you out to jam night one night. And so they had kind of brought me back. I told you I was acting at the time. And so that music outlet was there and I started to create. And so Ivason, I'll let you jump in because I don't think you were recording at this time when we had met.
Yeah, I was still recording. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, because at that point I was just dropping 5 to the 6 with Know It. I have an EP with a 5-song EP with 5 to the 6. But it still wasn't that serious, but it was nice to, when I saw Titus, it was like a eureka moment, like, wow, like, you know, why don't we hang out? You know what I mean? Like, let's, you know, like, to continue on what he was saying, it went from 0 to 100, man, from barely knowing each other to like lost brothers. Like, you know what I mean? Like the brother I never had kind of vibe. Like,
yeah,
you would just think,
that,
you know?
The bond that you can make by making music with people, it's a weird one, because like you guys said, like, it's not always this like bond where you hang out every weekend, but when you see each other, even if it's 15 years later, there's still that mutual respect there or whatever, right? And still a lot of love. Yeah, I know that feeling a lot with a lot of different artists. And you know, life comes up, it gets in the way, you move away and are doing your own separate things, whatever, start families, whatever, stuff happens in life. And a lot of the time art takes that back burner. So it's great that y'all have got back together and are making more music.
And Doobyis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not to cut you, but to go back to a prior point that you actually made, another part layer to that, that is the fact, like, he's a dope artist too, which goes back to what you're talking about before, the love from your peers for being good at what you do. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, because if you think about it, Doobyis, I mean, if you know an artist that sucks and you meet him again, it's like, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, you worked on stuff? Cool, all right. And you're on your way. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to build a friendship. You know what I'm saying?
Up.
Yeah. So just to your point about caring about the craft of hip hop and being good at what you do and respected amongst your peers, like, that layer was definitely intact. So when we saw each other, it was a mutual respect of each other's work too. Like, yo, let's work together because I love what you do and where you at now.
Yeah.
By the way, let me cut in right quick here. It just dawned on me the other day. Know It put up a picture, and it dawned on me that we were on an EP together.
Which one?
You don't even remember. It was both of our pieces of wax.
Oh, word.
My song was called Mr. Bly.
Mr. Bly. And yeah.
And Shark, or Sharky at the time, and it was Know It, J Young Music, that put the album together. And it's like
what's the name of the project?
Well, just that we did something so epic, and I forgot.
No,
you know what I mean?
What's the name of the project? Just like in case people can go find it or whatever. Do you think I'd be able to find it anywhere?
Do you remember Titus?
I don't, man.
Trying to bring him back to that time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what song I had on there too, man. I can't even remember that. So, yo, I have to look that up.
You know what, Doobyis? I promise you, man. Like, when this is said and done, I'm gonna go get that for you.
Yeah, man. If you can find a link, send it over. I'd love to hear it. I'm always looking to listen to new music, and I try not to play anything twice on After the Smoke is Clear. So, you know, like, unless it's a real banger and like a best of episode at the end of the year or something, I'm trying to make it so that every episode I'm playing, 15 to 20 new songs for people. So, yeah, there's no reason not to send it over for sure. I'll get it out there. Since you guys were talking about being on the scene, and I assume that was the Toronto scene also, like in the early 2000s you were talking about, when you were doing it prior. Okay, so one thing that I like asking people about their local scene is kind of what's it, I guess, how alive does hip hop feel there? Like, I've had people tell me in Brooklyn, you can just kind of see hip hop spring up at a barbecue or whatever, right? Like that it just is where the people are. Wherever there's people, there might be hip hop there. Out in Alberta, it's not like that. There's set nights where we'll have this night at a club, we'll have this night where it's a show and all these artists come out, and you see the community out and about then, but it's a little bit more in the shadows or whatever. And I feel like it's got to be much more prominent in Toronto. And I just kind of wanted to ask, I guess, maybe contrast the scene back then to the scene now in Toronto. Do you feel it's progressed, or has it, gained strength?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm out there like that. I mean, I'm older now, right? So
Sure.
I have responsibilities, but for instance, this whole TikTok thing, I've been going down a rabbit hole with it, and I sit there like my mouth dropped, like, whoa, like listen to these kids, like go at it, and their grasp of it, the grasp of the business side of it, their grasp of the production and the content. They're light years ahead of where we were at the time. You know what I mean? And I love it. I think it's amazing that, I could probably come across 4 or 5 different Toronto artists almost every day when I'm on TikTok.
Right.
That are dope, like not even like they're just a little bit okay. They're dope. I'm scared.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much talent in the world. I love that feeling of being scared when you hear somebody else doing what you do and you go, shit, I don't know if I can do it that well.
Yeah.
That's what propels us all, right?
Got some work to do.
Yeah. As far as like hip hop nights and stuff though, like are there open mic nights going on at the clubs right now? Like are there hip hop shows on the radio kind of locally? Like what's it like? Because like people move to Calgary and they're like, okay, what's the hip hop station here? There is no hip hop station, right? Like this is like the land before hip hop out here. So I guess like
amazing.
What's it like out there? Because here, hip hop only lives on college radio. Is there a hip hop station in Toronto? I assume.
Yeah, it's a pop hip hop, like it's flow. It's the same thing. I don't think much has changed in that aspect, to be honest with you, bro. It's still a college radio based thing. It's Master Plan show is what now? DTS is going to kill me for not remembering, but we were talking 20 years plus on 89.5. Saturday.
Master Plan. Yeah, I've tuned in for a few of those ones. Yeah.
These shows, yeah, man. I mean, as far as what would you say, flow?
Yeah, in terms of like a major station, yeah. Because I mean, like literally the other two that come to mind are college stations.
Right.
I'm thinking of Street Hop, which is out of U of W with Carmelo over there, and then Analog Sound Crew. They run a hip hop show out of the University of Guelph. So to your point, it's like there is that scene, but it is much a college radio.
Yeah, and I mean now people are thinking like even college radio, like who turns on a radio at this point, right? Most of us are operating completely off of streaming. So like when I tell people, I do a radio show, they look at me crazy, and it's like, well, it's also a podcast. You can listen to it online, of course, like, but it does hit the FM dial, so it's a radio show officially. But, I think the whole digital landscape has changed the landscape of hip hop so much that, like you said, you do get guys now getting big off of their TikTok duets or, building maybe relationships with producers through doing TikTok duets and stuff like that. And I think it's so important to be engaged online. So, I appreciate that both of you actually, like, when your phone dings because somebody messages you on Instagram asking if you want to do an interview, you look at it or whatever, right? Because I feel like there are a lot of artists who get in this mindset that it's like, I don't have time for all that shit. I can't be bothered with social media. It's all fake, promotion or whatever anyways, right? Like that's and it is like a lot of it is a lot of fake promotion bullshit, but at the same time, like there's a certain level of engagement that it allows, and I feel like there's an authentic way to use it and build, you know. And so that's for the third season of the show. I just thought, well, shit, I got to start talking to people and just start opening up some conversations and having these conversations with people. So, you know, I appreciate y'all coming by to talk. I did want to talk though for sure about, like, you got new projects coming up. We mentioned the newest single there today, but it sounds like there's a bunch of music in the stash. What's the plan for that?
D?
Yeah, I got have a track coming out end of April, and a collaboration with the White House, my man Chris out there, and he's gonna kill me because I'm trying to think of the name of the song, and can't even think. I have to find the name of the song before we finish this interview. I'm like, shit, I got a song coming out. I'm like, I have all these songs swimming around because I'm also editing one today with Mr. Murray, which is coming out next month, a song called Breathe. So that's a song that's right here. And I just the other day recorded another song with Chris. And so that song's right here. So it's like coming back to what we worked on 2 months ago. That's coming out in a couple of weeks, about to start promo. Regardless, I will let you know.
Sure. Yeah, keep me in the loop, and anybody who listens to After the Smoke is Clear, you'll hear them.
Yeah. So my bad on that. Got to get up on my promotion game. Been deep in like the create game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's tough to switch back and forth from create to promote to all the other things. Yeah, for sure. What about
and that's
you?
Actually. Oh, I was gonna say before we get to, actually no, let's go to Ivason and I'll come back to that point. I'll put a pin in it. I got it.
Well, I'm 4 deep on the record right now. Red Light being the last one. I think I said Red Light out to you.
Yeah.
I'm taking a little ease off right now because I decided I want to drop the full record. I was gonna go single by single by single, and then I'm just kind of like, I'm having a bit of a renaissance myself where I'm starting to make music again rapidly. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? Let me just drop this full record and I'll be ready to up not too far after. So the record is going to be entitled Counterculture.
Cool. Nice.
Actually, you know, D named it just by us having one day. And I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the title of my record. And, on this record, I talk, you know, some songs are fun. Some songs I'm going into depression, which is something I went through and I'm still going through.
Yeah.
And I realized a lot of people, when this pandemic hit, this shit hit them hard. Like I said, being alone I enjoy it, but you know, not when it's forced.
Right.
And I found the best therapy for me was to write songs about it, and songs that people could put their mind into and their heart and soul into. So that's the goal here. I got about 16 tracks. So I got 12 that the world hasn't heard yet, and I think y'all gonna dig them.
Nice.
Cool. David, you had something else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I was going to mention the other side of getting reintroduced to music at this point is something that you mentioned there, all the different hats that you wear now, right? And so no longer is it you just record the song and have somebody to promote it. It's like you're recording the song. You know, I was in your case, in many people's cases, like let's say you're making the beat, you know, and then you're writing your lyrics, and then you're recording the song, and then you're putting together some type of promo, and then you're trying to let everybody and their brother know on social media. So you're a promoter, you're a marketer, and then you're learning, well, how do I promote and market more effectively? And so you're not just blasting information, but now you're trying to learn the craft of doing that in an efficient way. And so just to your point, there's a lot of more hats that you wear at this point of the game of hip hop that when we were coming up, you didn't have to wear those. You wore 2, man. You were good.
I guess another question that kind of leads off of what I just asked about what's coming next is a lot of artists just kind of are doing the singles thing, right? Like doing a single a week forever. And, you know, and that's how they're going to release their music. And I think the school of thought from that is that you want to be constantly visible, right? We all read that to be promoting ourselves properly, you want to have this constant visibility out there. But then I hear you, Ivason, talking about, like, you know, you're in artist mode again, and when you have a bunch of songs that feel like they're cohesive, I feel that same way. I want to put them together into an album too, and I'm somebody who likes to listen to albums too, right? I think even in listeners, that's kind of something that's fallen off over the years is people don't really put on an album and listen front to back a lot of the time. I mean, maybe like the real heads do, but like not just average people, I don't feel like. It kind of leads to this culture where music turns into a thing that people just get used to getting for free, for streaming it for free, and it gets harder and harder as artists trying to figure out, so how the hell do we do this then? If everybody just expects our music for free, how do we pay the bills? Because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of effort to, you know, put music out. How do y'all come at that? Like,
that's the struggle. I mean, David and I talk about that all the time. Like the struggle is, how do we monetize this? How do we make money? I mean, I remember us having a conversation a little while back where I was like, well, if we could sell 100 CDs at $10 a pop, then we'll have $1,000, and we could put that $1,000 back in, and then we can. And I to myself now, and I'm like, yeah, it don't go that way no more.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to get, 50 streams a month. Never mind 50 streams a week or a day. It's you're right, bro. It's difficult as hell. There's so much noise out there.
Yeah. And then, so with all that noise coming out, you get, like I said, people look at me crazy when I say that I do a radio show, because they all just follow an algorithm on Spotify that tells them what to listen to, what's new this week, right? And I try to explain, like, well, I take that algorithm that gives me 5 hours worth of music that's new every week, and like from that I make a smaller playlist that's maybe 3 hours that I actually listen to, and from that I go buy what I want to play, and support the artist by doing it or whatever. But I always tell people, like, at some point you should go support artists. Like, most people are generous in the way that if they go to a farmer's market and there's paintings or there's beading crafts or whatever type of physical crafts out, they'll support that, they'll spend money on that, and it seems so tough to get anybody to actually reach into their pocket and spend on music unless it's to come to a show. And shows are great, but over the pandemic it was like, what do we do now? Like, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know. I always tell artists, make sure your Bandcamp is up, because that's how you're going to get the biggest cut of music if people do want to come buy it. And when I'm playing people's music, I always am telling the fans, like, if you like this stuff, go support it. These are all independent artists, and nobody's rich. We're we're all trying to pay bills here, so like, show love to people. But I also I also like to ask artists, like, what would you say is the best way for people to show support?
That's a great question. Appreciate that. I think at this point, for me, best way to show support is to come. Actually, it's going to be to find me on, whether it be Spotify or YouTube. That's essentially where I'm releasing. I haven't set up a Bandcamp yet. Again, being at these this almost new stage, if you will, right?
Sure. Well, and honestly, so, I mean, I've got a Bandcamp, but whether people go buy from it or not, it's like, I don't know if that is the best way to support artists. So this is why I like asking people this, is like, where are we even at as artists? Like, what is the best way to do it? So I love hearing different people's takes on this question.
Yeah. Well, and it also comes down to, like, you as a person. Sorry, Ivason, but in terms of, like, what metric do you value the most? Because some people be like, yo, go like my Instagram post that I just put up, yesterday, because that metric, like, I value, you know what I'm saying? So so I think it becomes individual too.
Totally. Well, and all that stuff becomes really important as well for the algorithms, right? That way it does, the more likes your Instagram post gets, the more often it pops up when people open their Instagram app or whatever. So yeah, I mean, likes and shares and all that stuff help a ton. And I also tell people, just genuine word of mouth, right? Like, if you hear somebody saying, like, man, there's no good hip hop comes out anymore, point them at ATSIC, point them at whoever locally that makes good hip hop. Because I hear that shit a lot, and like, I get it, because they're just listening to the mainstream. They're not really tapped in. They don't have time to dig through the pile of garbage that comes out every week. But there is a good amount of good music too. But So, I cut you off, Ivason. I'm sorry. So I'll pass the mic
No,
back to you. What would you say?
well, pardon me. I was just saying the Bandcamp thing. The one thing I like about Bandcamp is that there's a loyalty there. There's that little, I don't have a massive fan base, but I know that every time I put something out, sometimes within minutes, my phone goes off, and one of my loyal followers has decided that they're gonna, put $1 down, put $5 down, put $10 down, and throw. And no, it's not a lot, but for me, it kind of validates the whole experience.
That's it. It might not pay the bill, but it's a motivation to keep doing it, right? Yeah,
exactly.
And what you said there about how your loyal fan base, you've got that group of loyal fan base, and I'm an internet nerd. I'm creeping around on social nets all the time, looking at stats and all this shit. So like on Bandcamp, one thing I like about Bandcamp is it lists all the people who support it. You got to buy things on Bandcamp, you got to have an account, and so it'll list all the people who have actually supported each different project you're looking at. And damned if I don't notice the same 30 people supporting every Canadian project across the board, right? Like it's artists buying each other's work. It's guys that are like, invested in this culture, and then each one has a handful, 5, 10, 15, 20 people who are just genuinely their fans. Maybe it's homies that they know, whatever. It's people who want to support. And so I think it's just like, how do we link all those people up who genuinely like the art that's being created to hear all the other genuine music that comes out across the country, right? So personally, like, I was offered to do a radio show, and it was like, I can't not. I got to put on for the culture. I got to do this. So that's what I'm trying my best to do. But I appreciate people coming by and spending time to actually try to build some of those bonds a little bit stronger than just, the likes and shares are good, but it's nice to have conversations with people too. And I think this really lets listeners kind of get to know people better and get to see who's out there, city to city even. Couple more questions just in closing I gotta ask. I always ask everybody recommendations for their favorite artists from their city who they think people might not be up on, I guess is kind of the caveat to it. Like, is there anybody you feel like people need to check out if you're talking to people watching in Alberta or whatever who, like I said, aren't tapped into outside, they might not know Toronto artists? Like, who are the Toronto artists to look for?
I'm really digging this this woman, Keisha Fanfare. I just happened to have her on my she was part of a group, a trio. I can't remember the name right now, but at any rate, she's dope. And it's one of the things that I watch a lot is the women, because their perspective is fresh. It's enlightening. It's their subject matter is just worlds away from where we are, as men. So I definitely, any chance I can, I pay attention to a lot of women. So I would have to say right now, Keisha Fanfare is my number one.
Right on.
Nice.
I never heard that name, so I appreciate that. That's the other reason I ask, is so that I can find more people to play. So yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'll throw back to someone actually that he just put a new project guide at me, and Ivason know, Prologic. I don't know if that name has come across. If you come across out of the,
it rings a bell. I don't know from where, but I've seen that around anyways. Yeah. Is that a producer?
Yeah, he's from the.
Or is that...
producer, MC as well, out of the KW area.
Okay.
Noah J. Young. I mean, that camp, like from way back that we came up with. But the reason I mentioned him, because here's a guy that's been doing it like all those years that I wasn't doing music, I was acting. Here's a guy that's been doing consistent. I mean, putting out beats, putting out, recordings, and like I said, something recently. So that consistency that he's had over the years, and to your point, for the love of the craft, like he, not about getting rich off of this for him, is because he genuinely breathes it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And those are the artists who I'm looking for. It's all good if people are actually making money off of it, but a lot of the people I'm playing on after the smoke is clear, I feel like, are just people who do it for the love of the art, for the love of the culture, and because they want to express themselves, right? That's what this is at its root, is expression. So
And that becomes I don't know if you find this Doobyis or yourself, Ivason, but it becomes one of the challenges of the artist in creating the song, where you're creating a song from the space of, you just have an impulse to create or something that you want to say. But then within that creative process, it's hard to shut out the, oh, what kind of streams would this get? Oh, how does this compare to, let's say, I don't follow trends all that much, but at the same time, I don't want to sound dated either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so there also becomes that battle. But I'm just like, but what if that is authentic to me in the sound of this song, what I'm going for, or just coming out of me in that way? So it's allowing for that truth, that artistic truth, right? Becomes a challenge.
Totally. Well, and if you're putting a ton of money into recording time, into a studio, or if you're putting a ton of money into promoting the music you're putting out, then I think that those are real things you need to be asking yourself. But, myself personally, I've always told people, like, I rap like some people paint, like I had a grandma who painted her whole life and nobody ever saw those pictures. She just had a basement full of pictures and an easel, and that was the art that she made, right? And to me, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'll put it on Spotify because it costs $15 to get it to Spotify. It's not that big of a deal, but so It's out there. If somebody runs into me and I say, hey, I rap, I can point over there and they can go listen to it if they want to. But ultimately, it's just like Ivason was saying, it's therapy. It's yelling into the void sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. Like that's what we describe it.
Yeah, and I mean, especially out here, because there is no hip hop scene like that. Like there are little shows pop up and stuff, but it's tough. I had to go online to find people to talk hip hop with. So, I won't keep you guys here much longer or anything. If either of you have anything to say in closing, now would be the time, I guess. Oh, I should ask for social media, like what's your ats or whatever? Where can people find you?
For me, Ivason Black, everywhere. So if you want it on Spotify, you want it on Deezer, Tidal. If you want to go on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything is at Ivason Black. I'm lucky for the unique name. Yeah. And please stream the hell out of it. I just love doing it, and I wish and hope cats would take some time to put their mind into my music. I think they'll dig it.
I think so too.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And for me, finding me on Spotify, the streaming, under David Smith. And the ununique thing about my name is that if you were to go online, you would find like probably 100 million David Smiths. It's like one of the most common names.
The two most common names in North America.
Gotta thank my parents for that. So what I did creatively, I inverted the I, and so it'd be like David, but the I is like an exclamation mark.
Yeah. Makes it easier to find.
Yeah, so find me that. And then in terms of my socials, at David's Reality. Just talking about my life, man, the reality of what goes on day to day. But kudos to you, man, dog. I really appreciate you giving a space and a platform for us to come talk about this thing that we love so much. You know what I'm saying? And even for us, obviously you probably tested this, tell you part of it, of course, but being at a different stage of life where I have a wife, I have a son, I don't have that 20-year-old, 25-year-old free time to have conversation like this with, for one, because I'm just hanging out with my hip hop guys, or two, you know what I mean, to be creating. So again, having this time to, like I said, just talk about something I love so much, man. I appreciate you for doing that, and specifically your niche of trying to give that platform to Canadian artists.
Hey, appreciate hearing it. And the other thing that I've been doing is on Tuesday afternoons, I've been going on Twitch. So I'll sit and do like a live stream on Twitch, where I'm putting together the next episode of After the Smoke is Clear, because I find, so for the actual After the Smoke is Clear mixes, I talk for 2 minutes at the start or whatever, and then it's just music mix for the rest of the time. And now I'm pinning these interviews to the end of them. But I was kind of thinking, like, I want to just discuss these songs. I want to have a little bit more time to just talk about what I think and what people in chat think about the songs or whatever. So that's what happens Tuesday afternoons on my Twitch stream. You know, the more the merrier. You two are always welcome over there. You know, send me a message or whatever. We can do it voice chat even or whatever. If you're bored on a Tuesday afternoon and just want to come hang out and listen to new hip hop that's come out across Canada. So I put that invite out to everybody I do one of these with. So.
Got you on my Mixcloud, so I still check you out on that for sure. So.
Yeah, right on, right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Salute, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, dude. Respect.
All right. Yeah, man. Appreciate you, Doobyis. And Ivason, we'll obviously be talking soon, man.
All right.
Hey, yo, send me that link for that music, Ivason.
Yeah.
Or the music directly, whatever works, whatever works. All right.
Now you have me up your butt all the time, bro. Every minute.
Hey, you know, honestly, like I'll message back. Somebody messages me, I look at my phone every time. So yeah, feel free. Get at me.
I'm curious about that. I didn't know you rapped, so now I'm super curious.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I did over the pandemic, I was sitting at home and I thought to myself, fuck, I better do something here, because I was like, what if COVID scars up my lungs and I can't rap anymore? I got I got asthma. So I was a little bit worried about it earlier on, you know, and I thought, well, I'm going to buy 10 beats. I bought 10 beats from DJ Moves. Shouts to DJ Moves out in Halifax. OG from Halifax. And I got 10 of those. And then I sat down with a pen, home studio here. The next 10 days, I wrote and recorded a track a day. So that's on Spotify. I'll send you the link to that afterward. That was called 10 from 11.
Please do.
10 days from the 11th month, November. And yeah, I was just like, oh, I just have all this shit I need to say during the pandemic, so let's say it. You know, I get 10 listeners a month on Spotify, but it is what it is. It's just art. So
11 and 12, man.
Hell yeah. And
Gotcha.
no, I'm looking forward to hearing all your new music that you got coming up too, David. So keep sending stuff over, and I'll keep playing it.
Oh, dude, again, just appreciating the platform. Let's just, you know, keep a dialogue, period. You know what I mean? I might just hit you up, just say what's up. You know what I'm saying? Just because, man.
For real, for real. All right, respect.
Cool.
Catch you
All
guys
right,
later.
peace.